Immerse in the profound wisdom of the Shandilya Bhakti Sutras, ancient verses, revered as a pinnacle of devotion and spiritual awareness. Under the guidance of His Holiness Swami Jyotirmayananda, plunge into the infinite ocean of this revered scripture. Discover its hidden truths. Embrace its transformative power. Awaken to new realms of divine love and spiritual awareness. The depths are calling. The deeper you dive, the more treasures you'll discover. And now, Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda.
Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanuramardanam Devki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om. Adorations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, bestower of immortality. And adorations to the divine self in each of them. Shandilya Bhakti Sutras, Sutra number 48, in the second chapter. Tacha Divyam Swashakti Matro Bhavat. That his coming into incarnation is divine, because this, his divine body, is produced by his own power. You are being given into subtlety of incarnation of God. And that's an important point to have deep understanding. Whenever, just to quote as the Gita says, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. O Arjuna, whenever virtue declines and unrighteousness predominates, I manifest myself as an embodied being. For what purpose? Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha duskritam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. To protect the saints and sages, to destroy the evildoers, and to re-establish dharma, I incarnate from age to age. Whenever you hear the word to destroy the evildoers, you must understand evildoers refer to negative qualities. Negative qualities are similar to short-circuited energy. Energy is good, but when it becomes short-circuited, it can kill a person. Similarly, cosmic source of goodness flows in every individual. It is absolutely divine. It's a divine energy. But due to limitation of mind, dullness of intellect, it becomes distorted. Love is there, but when it becomes distorted, it becomes a hate. Humility is there. When it becomes distorted, it becomes pride. Self-confidence is good, but when it becomes distorted, it turns into, I am the only one. Who else can be like me? That much confidence is not good. All negative qualities that harass people, as how all souls are evolving in the form of destroying those negative qualities and allowing the positive which is innate in the soul to blossom, to unfold. And that's real progress. Everything else is just ramifications of progress. Now look at humanity and what's going on. There are so many things buzzing TV from morning till night. But the root source lies in understanding how can people, masses, turn their attention towards dharma, virtue, and it's two aspects for the masses and for every individual. When your attention is towards the masses, that doesn't have priority, because you can do nothing to the masses unless you have a change within yourself, or at least you are changing within yourself. You don't imagine a doctor who's thoroughly sick, stands up and goes on saying, I'm going to heal you. This is the cosmic process, a subtle rule of divine order operates always. Creation creates different circumstances, just like in atmosphere, sometimes low pressure builds up. Then immediately there is a reaction. There is a storm, there is a hurricane, there is twisters to fill in the low pressure. In the same way, in a spiritual world, the mental atmosphere of people turn away from dharma. Their mind is only busy finding fault in others, destroying the fault without knowing what they have done. Faults can't be destroyed, can't be killed. Diseases cannot be driven out of your body by shouting at them. And we will not go into too many details, but the point to understand that behind the world process, the world that you see of the past, present, and future, that world is sustained by divine order. And God is the mighty Father. It's good to think of Him on the Father's Day. He is the ultimate Father. And according to Hindu tradition, He is Ardhanarishwara. He is not just total Father. Half is Father, half is Mother. That completes the picture. Therefore, God will not let things just go on. Whenever there is disturbance and the adharma begins to dominate dharma, divine response comes. And that provides for people an ideal. It provides the basis for your devout meditation. That is, as a result of this God's incarnation, you are given initiation into Rama, Krishna, Buddha, and so forth. These are all incarnations, Jesus. In all religions, incarnations such as Rama and Krishna are highlighted because of so many revelations of the scriptures are embodied in Rama, in Krishna, and similar. All the deities whose mantra is given to you, they are aspects of the Supreme Self. And from ordinary point of view, from a practical point of view, they are avatars. Avatars of whom? Of the Absolute Self. Not avatar of a messenger of God or a messenger's messenger. The God. And the understanding of the God is not easy. Hindu scriptures give you gods, the greatest of gods. Vishnu sustains. Brahma creates. Shiva destroys. But an avatara is 1,000 Vishnus put together, 1,000 Brahmas put together, 1,000 Shivas put together. But when you are worshipping Vishnu, At that time, that Vishnu is whole Brahman. That subtle point has to be understood. If you worship Shiva, you don't worship Shiva as one of the deities. Shiva as Brahman. Any mantra you are initiated into, that mantra is not relating to a deity, a God, but the absolute God. And all gods are his aspects. So no one is excluded. And that history shows to you in all parts of the world, humanity has been blessed with great incarnations. And any human being innately the divine self, has that potentiality to become an instrument in divine hand, or becomes so advanced, he can be viewed as avatara. Great gurus, they are all viewed by their disciples, avatara. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara. Guru is Brahma. But now the prayer doesn't stop with that. Guru Vishnu is also Vishnu. And the disciple scratches his head. What else? Guru is Shiva. Guru is Maheshwara. All Ishwaras that you have thought of, it transcends. Because all that is being pointed to Brahman, the Absolute. Try to digest it. So if your mantra is Rama, then Rama is the Absolute, beyond Vishnu, beyond Brahma, beyond Shiva. If your deity is Ganesha, then Ganesha is beyond Vishnu, beyond Shiva, beyond Rama, beyond Krishna, beyond all. So that type of understanding, without holding in your mind any confusion, then my God is better than his God. I can get things fast. Or that. And then it comes a strange type of sentiment of doing good to others. You go on discouraging people. Why are you worshipping that God? See? Worship Shiva, he can give you quick. And you quote the scriptures, how he quickly gives. He doesn't think. Draupadi in her previous life practiced a lot of austerity, meditated on Shiva. Her idea was to find a good match to marry. Shiva appeared, and this personality, Shiva said, ask any boon. And she said, I want a husband. I want a husband 5 times. Shiva, you have 5. Many humorous stories have been generated. They are not to be taken literal story. What I am implying that never develop that idea that any particular aspect of God is higher or it contradicts the other aspects. That they hold some type of animosity between Rama and Shiva or things of that nature. All that exists because human mind is very perplexed. Due to complexes of people's minds, lots of defects have entered in the spiritual practice. And they have to be eliminated. But those defects don't spoil the whole stuff. If you take a coconut, a lot of stuff has entered into that fruit. You have to cut them down, throw them away, crack it until you get to them. Similarly, with all spiritual studies, scriptures, you don't get at the essence unless you know how to cut it down, how to break it, how to throw away unnecessary rough edge. Janma karma chame divyam evam yo vetti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti so Arjuna. O Arjuna, my birth and my actions are divine. Whoever knows this truly will not be reborn. After shedding his physical body, he will come to me. Again, for simpler way of understanding, God allows himself to be embodied. His embodiment is totally different from normal embodiment. Souls enter into embodiment because they have no choice. They're in bondage, led by their karma. A crude illustration is given by some sages. It's just like you enter into a prison and you find so many prisoners. But you find the manager of the prison system, and he can go into anywhere. He can take you, even in the cell, in all parts of the prison. And he is not a prisoner. He can go anywhere. But he is the controller, he is the manager. A manager is not the same as a prisoner in the prison. All souls are as if in a prison. And God comes as a managing power. Even though he has entered into the world, but he is untouched by all the limitations of people. Next sutra explains, Mukhyam tasya hi karunyam. Why does he do that? He has a nice restful time in eternal realm. If you come down to a lesser level where Vishnu is lying in the Milky Ocean, with a very soft couch, why should he turn away from that? The cause is compassion, karuna. Karuna is the source, at the source of all creation. When you were born, you had not established any connection with the family. You didn't send them your your text message or anything of that nature. It will come, prepare everything for me. All that happened that you looked at the face of the mother. And that's it. A lifelong bond is created. What's the cause? Mother looks at the child, it's a tremendous compassion. The heart begins to melt. There's no reasoning there. It's a mutual love. The child finds great fulfillment. Mother finds what a grace, blessing of God has come into my arms. No one is complaining. Allow this in a broader level. All humanity, all creatures. God's heart is like a mother's heart. And deep down, that divine love is intrinsic in every individual. Everyone is striving to be loved and to love. But as long as mind is limited, you are groping in darkness. In every embodiment, you find relations. You find the height of good relationship, not absolute. You are very comfortable with people around you. Everybody is loving. But nobody is sure about their heart when it will fail. How things will happen, whether a hurricane will come and wipe them all out. As well as change of mind in different circumstances. So all attainment in this world is faulty, limited. This doesn't mean that we are discouraging you for having good feeling, but what we are leading you to understand that when you love someone, behind that loving process, your mind is trying to turn to God, because God is the reality in all. Very simple illustration. When you look at reflected images of the sun, or reflections that create lots of splendor in the world, your mind may have a lot of distractions. Should I look at this? Should I look at that? But behind all that shines, sun is the source. If you had the possibility of turning your attention to the sun, you have all little glimmers, all blended and transcended. But that is the ultimate purpose. But if you were to understand that your mind is moving towards God, it doesn't mean that then you turn away from people with whom you are related. Rather, your love for them becomes more profound. Normal love is not profound. It is based on sentiments. You make an error in speaking, make an error in reaction, and mind remembers, touched, hurt. Sometimes very good relationship breaks. So, all human relationships are karmic process. But you can step beyond those limitations and turn your mind to God. And thereby, you live the best of your life, create the best of external warmth and good feeling and real dharmic progress. And you become like a blossoms, but its soul has gone into the sun or the moon. I'm talking about the lotuses, how they blossom, inspired by the sun or the moon. That's the nature of divine love. As long as your mind goes on saying, oh, I love God, but not this world. As long as your mind goes on pushing things, people away with kind of a disgust, you must realize that is not devotion at all. It can be helpful for a period. Like if you are very sick, then hospitalization or very strict diet becomes important. But it should not be normal. Sages and saints do not hate anyone. Your heart has to have that love that overflows. So I was talking about Karunyam, Karuna. Mahabharata and other scriptures dramatize this point. Krishna, incarnation, divine incarnation. In his early days, he went into Gurukul. That was the old-time schooling. And there he had a friend, a classmate, Sudama by name. Sudama and Krishna both worked together to serve the teacher during a rainy day and a rainy monsoon season. They are working in the forest to bring some wood for the ashram kitchen. At that time, atmosphere became so troubled, dark clouds and everything became dark and the temperature went down very cold. Sudama climbed up a tree and Krishna was under. And then Sudama was always clever. He kept something to eat. So he brought down from his pocket whatever he has been hiding. and started eating. Krishna said, "Oh friend, give me also. Are you eating something?" And Sudama said, "Oh no, it's so cold that the teeth are creased." Sound. Krishna kept quiet. Time passed. Krishna, Sudama is grown up and holding a responsibility as his wife, yes, householder's life. And Krishna is the ruler of Dwaraka. But Sudama is living a life of hardship. And his wife goes on urging him. And you go on telling how you are a friend of Krishna. So why don't you go there and get his help? He is the Lord and mighty personality. He can give you anything you want. Why should we go on struggling like that day by day, miserable way? He went on a word because he had that guilt conscience. But her urging went on becoming more and more until he couldn't bear it. So he said, "All right, I will go. But I must carry some gift." So she prepared some some type of a rice product. It's a fried rice. It's very, very well loved by villagers. Each rice swells up into very nice looking texture called faruhi. You must know I add some dramatization. So he carried a bundle of that. He went to Dwaraka and with great hesitation he approached the gatekeeper and said, "Go to Krishna and say that Sudama, his boyhood friend, is here." And the gatekeeper asked him to stay there. And gatekeeper was himself very amused. How can this miserable person be allowed in such a grand palace? Nevertheless, he went there and said to Krishna. And Krishna was busy, immersed in so many royal, wondrous things were going on. And all the major queens were with him and so many things. And the gatekeeper goes and whispers, "There is someone, O Lord," says he's Sudama, and he says he was your childhood friend. Krishna simply gets up from that, throws away his yellow garment, kicks out his crown, and bounces out. Can't control himself. All people were stunned. What's going on? And he went out and he hugged Sudama and folded him in his arms. "Oh, my friend, how are you? Where have you been for such a long time?" And he brings Sudama in and places him very close to himself. And in course of conversation, Krishna realizes that he has brought a gift for Krishna. And he is hiding it. This time he was hiding because seeing such grandeur, it was shameful to give something. Poor food. So he was hiding behind it. And Krishna says to his friend, Didn't your wife give you a present for me or something to eat? He tries to dismiss his talk and he's trying to change the talk. But this time Krishna forces him, by force takes him. So here it is. He opens it and eats a handful. While eating, everybody is looking at Krishna. He's not sharing. He ate one handful and now picked up the other handful. And it wasn't much, there was only third handful left. When he started for the third handful, Rukmini stopped him. And what about us? All the dramatizers, you can see how the scriptures dramatize. This explosion of compassion. Now, of course, the third handful he distributed among people. And they all considered it a tremendous privilege, it's a prasad coming from divine hand. The idea behind it is everyone possesses some resources that can be shared with God. You don't have to think of God. That was also dramatized, how Rama was pleased with Shabari's bear fruit. So pleasing God doesn't require the same psychology as you want to please a big merchant. Pleasing God is based on your good feeling. And just like a child brings immense joy to a mother, just even if child picks up a little flower just from the garden, from the mother's garden. Much in the same way, all that you possess is God's. Developing an attitude or offering it to God is not a very great development. Nevertheless, your feeling explodes if you do so. So in brief, after all that, a lot of good conversation, and Sudama rested for a while in Dwaraka for 2 or 3 days. And then ultimately he departed. At the time of departure, Lord Krishna simply had an expression of good feeling and goodbye. Sudama was immensely delighted, overwhelmed, but one thing was still bugging his mind. That he could not come to say what his wife has asked him. To give me some help, I'm in misery. And he didn't say. And somehow Krishna didn't detect it. Last time he detected it when he was hiding the... But this time he didn't. So that was a little there in his sense of despair or frustration. But overall he was so pleased to have Krishna's darshan. The story goes on. He comes to his village and he looks around. Everything has changed. The pathways that were just mud, now they are well paved. Little huts, they become palaces. And people, they look like princes and princesses, all types, completely different. Suddenly it occurs to him that while he was away, some mighty monarch must have come and destroyed it, and now it is in his hands. So with that idea, he wanted to move away and go somewhere. But at that time, his wife, wearing a palatial kind of a queen attire, in the beginning he sees her coming, he thinks that now they want to catch a hold of me. Here comes the queen. But at closer range he realizes this is his own wife. But why is she playing such a drama? And the wife tells him that while you were away, Krishna sent all his workers and friends and completely changed the entire village. That's a mystical way of saying that while you offer the spirit, offer your selfishness, your ego, offer all that you have, the unconscious becomes completely changed. Your deeper level where you have your roots, that becomes completely transformed. And that occurs without telling you, without promising you, without much debate about it. It happens in a spontaneous way. It's the entire scripture is put down in a story. People remember this story. They tell their children. And there is always something you can get out of it. When on a profound level, it is extremely profound. You are always Sudama, hiding from God and eating it. And denying that you are enjoying it. Until devotion enters your heart and you are driven by your bhavana, your intellect. Good intellect goes on forcing you, go there, go there. And if you have turned to God for help, God comes down from his glorious estate. He's lying down on the bed of eternity. Infinity is his tent. And all sages and saints are before him, attending on him. All glories of the world are around him. And you little one, go there. And he jumps out of his palace, out of his throne, to meet him. That you say, oh, Sudama was great, but what about me? There isn't a soul that is not loved by God. There isn't a reflected sun that is not loved by the sun. That's broader way. But then, while God loves all in general, a mind that has developed devotion, that soul with that mind has become Sudama. Sudama that is not hiding, now is grown up, knocking, going at the gate of Krishna. For that devotee, God jumps down from his transcendental level and communicates with the devotee, lifts him up. Like a mother bends down, lifts the child. What more can be done? With this of Shanti.
Thank you for joining us on this journey of spiritual growth. It's an honor to learn from the wisdom of Swami Jyotirmayananda. As we part for now, remember, the quest does not end. Take time to reflect on today's insights and integrate them into your life. Until next time, stay open, stay curious, stay present. The light within you is always shining.